Hey, welcome back to the Man Cave Workshop, and thank you very much for joining me. As you can see, we've got another Roberts set on the bench at the moment. Now this is a Roberts R303, and the production ran between 1967 and 1970. As you can see, I have actually downloaded the trader service sheet, because it's only 2 sheets that I've printed out, as somebody when I was doing the Rambler pointed out that if you're using iPads and stuff, there is the point that they use power. So with this only being 2 sheets, don't feel too bad about using paper. And once you've downloaded them, they're there forever. So let's have a look at the set. This one was donated to the Man Cave Workshop by a YouTuber called Cody's. Very kind of him. So if you don't follow his channel, please have a look at it. Very good channel, to be fair. It's an olive green one, and it's got the full Rexine ends. There's no teak ends on this one. Now at first glance, looking at this set, it looks very similar to me to the Roberts RIC 1, which I've got one on the side here so we can compare them. I think they're a totally different radio inside, but the actual case looks very, very similar. Let's put them side by side there. You can see, I mean, this one's got, I've just got a power cord to the camera here. I'm sorry if it's getting in the way. I'll try and hook that out of the way. Look at the case. They look pretty much identical. So I think they're from the same stable. The Roberts RIC 1 was produced from 1968 to 1971. This one's awaiting a bit of attention. Just thought I'd compare that, because the case is the same, but I should imagine inside they're totally different. So I've not had a look inside this one yet, or if I have, it's quite a while ago and I can't remember. So let's have a quick look inside it. All the base is covered with Rexine as well, and it looks in fabulous condition, this one. Now there it is. It's got a module in it. Now I was reading the service sheet, and it appears that in this module we've got 3 transistors. 2 of them are AF117s and one is an AF115, which are notorious for growing tin whiskers and going bad. So we might have to address that. On the other hand, if it's working, we'll see. If it's working, we might leave it. If not, well, obviously we'll have to address it. Now instantly you can see it's had a modern battery snap put on it. That could well have been by Mr. Cody's. It might not have been. If it was, whoever's done it's done a fantastic job with heat shrink. And this happens, the old ones made out of cardboard, they do break. So sometimes, you know, you have to put a modern one on, which is fine, it'll work fine. Just looking around it, the general appearance is very good. The badge has gone very yellow, it's lost nearly almost all its chrome. The grill, even though it looks good on camera, has got quite staining on it, and it's got 1 or 2 dings, so we can sort that out. The Rexine looks in fabulous condition, and actually inside the radio looks very, very clean. I'm wondering if Mr. Cody's has been in here and recapped it and done all the work. Let's have a look. I can see the so you can't see from there what the light's like, but it has got the original electrolytic capacitors poking their heads out of the top of the board over the module there. But wow, how clean this looks. It looks very, very clean. So what we'll do, I'm gonna have to take it apart anyway to address this grill. So we'll take it apart and then test it. Yeah, we'll take it apart and test it. It's got to come apart anyway. So I'll just do a quick pause now. So there we go, after a short pause, I must apologise. I realised I had the fan heater on that was making a bit of a noise in the background. So I'm sorry if the very first section of this video wasn't too clear. I've switched it off now. Right, these come out of the chassis, not through the top. So I don't think you have to... oh, that's a bit wobbly, the chassis. I don't think you have to take the buttons off, because I've worked on a RIC 1 before. I think all it is a case of doing is undoing these 3 nuts that hold this very clean battery tray in. two for the speakers. They look like they have star washers behind them, and there's wooden. How am I getting the light right? There's wooden struts that slot down and push the chassis up to the top. Perhaps they've just got loose over time. So what we'll do, we'll take out the wooden struts first, and they look like they are not Starhead, Phillips head. Actually, this. Let's have a look at that head on that one. Ah, that one looks a bit stripped. So somebody has been in here before, because that's stripped. Now, I know Cody's work is absolutely 100%, so I very much doubt that he would have. In fact, I'm 100% he wouldn't have stripped that, and if it had, he would have changed it. So yeah, the head on that one's stripped. Let's have a look at the other one. Oh, the other one looks fine. Let's undo that. I hope we're in shot here and you can sort of grasp what I'm doing. It's a bit awkward when the way I've got the camera positioned. It means it's a very awkward angle for me to work on the radio. I'll have to do something about it. But it means that you, as the viewer, get a good shot of what's going on. See, these wooden struts, they have a groove in them, so then they can slide by the handle. So I'm sorry, if you're an experienced radio restorer, you might find this pretty boring. I'm not. I'm still learning, even though I've done a few sets. So I like to have a look at things that are pretty basic. It's the only way you learn. And if nobody shows you, then, well, you never know, do you? So then I'll put, that one came off that side, that one came off that side. So I'll put them like that, just in case the holes have been drilled at different angles. Well, these nuts on the speaker, they're finger loose. That's good. If they weren't, I would, at the angle they are, get either some angled pliers and be very careful not to round the heads off. I've just dropped one in the radio. There's the star washers that are on them. And I'd very carefully undo it. Oh, now the battery. Oh no, the battery tray nuts are coming off. That was a bit stiff for that one. That's one. Sorry if you find this boring. It's just showing how to dismantle the set, really. 2, 3. I'm slacking a bit. I should really put a soft cloth underneath it rather than have it on a hard surface and doing this because it's upside down, but I forgot basically. Right, so to get it out, it's got to come this way, and the reason, obviously the battery tray's blocking it, so that's why that's come out. And wow, that is extremely clean for a battery tray. There's no battery acid corrosion on it whatsoever, which is fantastic. Right, let's pull the speaker out. So you've got to get the speaker out to give space for the board to come out. Let's see how long the wires are on it. Oh, they plenty again on the Rambler on this set. The wires they give you, they've got loads of slack in them. These are soldered on rather than clipped on. And let's see if we can just gently get the board out now. So I've not took one of these apart before, so I'm not sure how tricky it'll be. Will it fit? Oh, it's got jammed at one end there. Let's push that back in. Right. Oh yeah, it comes out. So in my experience there, this end stays in, this end comes out first. And that's logical because the board would catch on the case and jam it in if you did it the other way around. Let's flip her over and we'll put that nut that fell down in a nice little bullet case. Nice and safe. We'll try not to damage the speaker, so we'll put it that way up. Even though you could still damage it by anything falling on it that way. But I just find it a bit more stable if they're that way up. So yeah, it's got all its original electrolytic capacitors. and it's got the LP1159/1. I'm just looking at this. I did read up on the radio beforehand. Module, which has the AF series transistors in it. So doubt it'll work. We might have to do some tapping if it doesn't, to tap a few whiskers off. So let's give it now 9 volts, which is what it wants. I'm actually giving it on the DC power supply. I measured a new PP9 battery, and these give out at first about 9. Well, this particular one gave out like 9.8, 9.9. So I've set the DC power supply limiter on 10 volts because it's going to get it when one of these batteries go in it new anyway. And I've put the current limiter just over 1/4 of an amp. So over. So it might trip out. Don't know. Right, let's switch it on. Let's see if the radio's on the off position. Oh, there's me running ahead. This is a long wave, medium wave radio only. It's got no tuning cord. It's got this slow motion tuning capacitor. Are we seeing all this? Can't lift it up too high now because of the speaker. Which I absolutely love these. The RIC1 shares the same tuning capacitor, and I'm sure more experienced guys will know a lot more radios that share this rather than a dial card. And a simple volume control. Let's flick it to medium wave first. And in the man cave, they pick up better when the ferrite rod is in this direction, so we'll give it a good chance. Right, power on. Power on, radio off. So it's getting 10 volts in there now. I saw a little tiny flicker on the current limiter display, but let's see if it works. It does sound like a radio. Are we picking up anything on medium wave? Oh. Okay, so medium wave is working. For some people that's a good sign, some people it's a bad sign if you like restoring these. Some people like broken radios. I'm sure one will end up on the Man Cave Workshop bench sooner or later. Long wave. So there we go, it works. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because this radio, it's the only one I've got, so I want to keep it. Don't want to move it along, and especially because it was a donation to the Man Cave. It'd be vulgar to sell it on, I think. It'd be okay to do a swap in future, but to sell it would be vulgar. In my world, anyway, I wouldn't do that. So what do? Do I change these capacitors or lift them up and test them just as a safeguard for its future? I'm pointing to this one here. That's actually a transistor. Should I just leave them as they are and wait until these AF117s in the module eventually pack in and then do the whole lot? Because it's working, I think that might be what I'm going to do with this radio. So all it'll be really is a clean-up of the case. Unless you guys in the comments I'm very reluctant to change these AF117s when they're working. I'm not as reluctant to change the capacitors, so I'll leave it in the comments for you guys to leave your opinions. At the moment, because it works, it's one of them, like the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And like I say, I'm not moving it on, so I might just run it until something fails, as it is. Be interested to test some of these. Might just do that just out of curiosity. But this definitely needs tidying up, and then it'll look a very presentable radio. I mean, let's face it, I'm not going to use it daily. It's going to be in a collection. 50-50. Anyway, thanks for watching the initial introduction to this Roberts R303. And I'll catch you in the next video. Be good to each other, guys.